to episode 2 of the Rare as Us podcast. I'm your host, Noah Griffith, and today I'm pumped up because I'm joined by the boys, Brendan Howerson, Kyle Waterman, Michael Gare, and Duncan Collins. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Hello, sir.
Going good.
You get your beauty nap, Kyle?
No.
Somebody give my man a 5-hour energy. He needs to be pumped up.
I just took one.
Let's go. So you're good for the Lakers game tonight, too. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
So, Kyle is a returning guest. We had him on for episode 1, 2 for our Rare Disease Day episode. Back in February, and he's back on today to talk some sports with us. So, us guys have a sports group chat. It's called Sports Fam. FA standing for Friedreich's ataxia, which is a rare disease that we all live with. It's rare neuromuscular disorder, and to find out more about FA, you can visit curefa.org/whatisFA. Very straightforward. So thank all you guys for joining me today, for listeners for tuning in. And if you're not a big sports fan, don't tune us out just yet. We're not planning to give our top 25 for college football or to talk about how much the Braves own the Marlins, even though we could talk in length about that, but we're not going to. We're going
I'm
to
not disagreeing.
I know, with the Marlins hat, of course. So we're going to talk more about how our FA journeys have clashed with our sports journeys and how that has kind of changed our plans. And so can we just start with everyone introducing themselves and telling maybe what sports you played as a kid, if you played sports growing up, or what teams you're into as of now? And Kyle, why don't you kick us off?
My name is Kyle Waterman. I'm 25 years old, living in Southern California. My favorite sports teams are the Oregon Ducks, LA Chargers, Seattle Seahawks, LA Lakers, LA Dodgers, and they're gonna win it all.
Don't say go Dodgers. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Let's go on to Brendan.
Yeah, that's slander.
What's up, Brendan? Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey, my name's Brendan Helberson. I'm 22 years old, and I was diagnosed at 10. And I'm also from Michigan. I'm really a big fan of European soccer. Specifically, I like Barcelona from Spain and Borussia Dortmund from Germany. And I'm actually more of a casual fan for other sports. I mainly like all of the teams from Detroit, but I don't follow them too closely. I'm also a really big Tampa Bay fan for the NHL.
Mhm.
And I like them because I
Our
go to
champions.
Tampa pretty often for FA clinical trials.
Mm.
And I was actually there at a couple of games last season. And then for college football, I think I'm actually kind of more neutral. I like both Michigan and Michigan State
Mm.
because when I was growing up, half of my family liked Michigan and the other half liked State. So growing up, I really kind of liked both. But one thing everyone has in common, we do not like Ohio State at all.
I thought we have that in common too, Brendan. Me and you both. Um, we mess with Brendan all the time about his Tigers and how poor of a team they are, but Brendan, I don't know what to say, man. You have a lot of great teams. Duncan, can you introduce yourself next?
Yeah, so I'm Duncan Collins. I'm 22. I got diagnosed, excuse me, diagnosed when I was 10. I'm a huge football, baseball fan. I played both sports growing up. Played basketball growing up, but I don't know, I just kind of fell away from that sport. But huge Atlanta Braves baseball fan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Love it.
And coastal baseball and football. And then a huge Green Bay Packer fan.
Mhm. You actually got to meet the great Aaron Rodgers, didn't you?
Of course. And he
How
leaves
much
me.
that? Oh, that's tough, man. That's very tough. I understand you, but that
Yeah.
feels like having Freeman go to LA. Oh, it's not a good feeling.
It broke my heart.
But you also go to Coastal Carolina, is that right?
Oh yeah.
They have
So
some, they have some that great baseball team this year, don't they?
yeah,
Mm.
they're ranked 8 in the country. So hoping to for them to host a regional.
That's great, Duncan. Great to have another Braves fan in the group with me. And Michael, last but not least,
Mm,
you're up.
you stayed the guy who most recently gave you the most shit for last. I see how it is. My name is Michael. I'm 23 years old. I'm from Central Oklahoma, Oklahoma City. I got to college in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a big fan, probably primarily of the MLB. I follow the Cardinals and the Marlins most of all. Two teams that have not been great recently.
The
The
Cardinals
Marlins have a decent team this year. We could beat anybody but the Mets and Braves.
Mhm. And
So
especially the
yeah,
Braves. You can't beat them. I mean,
that's true.
they're just too stacked.
I mean,
That's true. I think we won one game by 1 run, and then we lost the other 6 games.
Yeah,
So,
we don't talk about that one game. We don't
yeah.
talk.
So anyway, and then college football, probably Ohio State and Penn State. All 4 of my grandparents went to Ohio State. My parents met at Penn State. NFL, the Steelers. My mom's from Pittsburgh.
It was awesome. I know I give you a hard time about your teams, but Michael's the other one that's almost as into the MLB as I am, so I appreciate that a lot. Um, let's get right into it. So with that being said, playing sports is kind of ironic for us because for many of us it led to our diagnosis. For me, it did. Um, so for each of you, how did you find your athletic ability changed in the years leading up to your diagnosis?
I found my athletic ability just when I was playing football in practice. We had to do these running drills, and I kept losing my breath.
Hmm.
And I was like, what the heck is going on? Everyone thought it was asthma, but turns out it wasn't.
Yeah. Same for me. Like I would get super winded after workouts. Especially after doing leg workouts. I'm like, why are my legs so sore every single time I work out? Also, instead of my athletic ability getting better over the years, I felt like I declined. And that kind of put up a red flag for me. Not a red flag,
Yeah,
it signaled something's going on. Michael, what about you?
So a little bit strange thing with my situation is I was diagnosed with something called Charcot-Marie-Tooth in December of 2010 or 11. I can't remember right now. It was 2011. Anyway, and so I thought I had that throughout middle school. But I still wanted to play sports and kind of do some things, even if I wasn't going to be great at them. It's the last sport I played, and also the sport I liked most and like most now, was baseball. So I remember there was one time where I was, a new seventh grader. I think it was the first day of practice, and we were playing with the eighth grade kids, and I was just standing on, I don't know, I think second base or something, and the kid was standing off first, and we were just throwing the ball around, and he threw it to me, and he threw, I don't know, kind of hard, but for an eighth grade kid, it was probably 60, 70. And of course he was not pitching or anything, so but whatever. I tried to catch it and I missed, and gave me a big black eye. So that was pretty much when I sort of knew that my sports playing days were limited, if not over.
I definitely feel that. I got a black eye as well. And back then, I didn't think anything about it. Actually, I made excuses like, hey, I wasn't looking, like I wasn't ready. But in reality, like, my reaction time just wasn't there. And looking back on it, those are signs that maybe something was going on that I just kind of covered up over time. I don't know if y'all can relate to that, but my base running as well, like when I got to 14, 15 years old, was awful. And, I just made excuses like my legs hurting or certain things like that. And just kind of buried it on. So, Duncan, what about you?
So I think my first kind of encounter or moment where I thought something's a little off was fourth grade. We were doing gymnastics,
Yeah.
and um we I guess it was gym class, but I don't really know if you call it a test because you don't really test in gym. But anyways, the teacher had us do the balance beam,
Mhm.
and I kept falling off left and right, and I was thinking, man, why am I so bad?
That's
But
like the worst thing you
that
could ask. That's like the worst thing you could ask a fair to do ever.
but yeah, I kept falling off, and I don't know, I just kind of thought to myself, why am I struggling so much? And it just slowly kind of snowballed after that.
Mm. Yeah, there are certain things for me like running and shopping. I'm like, this isn't typically how I would feel when I run or jump. Kind of like with you. Just kind of tipped, built over time, got worse over time as well instead of better. Um, Brandon, what about you?
Yeah. Like I said, I was actually diagnosed with FA pretty young. So around that time, it was always pretty obvious that I couldn't really keep up with everyone else, especially doing activities like running, because growing up, I also did have asthma. So that was really hard for me to catch my breath too. Plus, having to keep up, that's like two things in one.
Yeah.
But middle school was also a pretty dark time for me, dealing with my progression with FA. And eventually that led to me giving up on playing sports completely. And it was really a negative time for me.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things about being diagnosed with FA for me. I was 16 and I remember vividly like the coaches bringing me off to the side after practice and being like, we don't think it's safe for you to play anymore because like you're not um the reaction time and things weren't there like it was with other players, even though I could still, throw and catch. Um it just became unsafe at that point. And so really I've already shared a lot about what happened to me, but like I remember after some of my games baseball games when I was 10 or in Little League, my grandparents came up to me and was like, wow, your base running has improved a lot. I feel like that's the time when I peaked, which is not a time you should be peaking. And then the times when I started to physically mature, like 12, 13, is when I really started to slow down and like things declined from there instead of getting better. And I persisted playing sports until I was up until the time I was diagnosed. And even afterwards, I still wanted to pitch because I could still, I still had a gun on me. I could throw a little bit. But like I said, it just wasn't safe for me anymore. And that was a hard realization. But once I did come to that realization, that's when I started to overcome my challenges and just kind of bring on the what's next mindset. Like, sports are behind me, but what's next? And that's when stumbled across Brad Saxon and things like that. And I know a few of you play at Dodger Sports. Can you share a little bit about that, Brendan?
Yeah. So I actually I play a few sports, so I have a really long answer coming. So because FA is progressive, I won't be able to do all my activities forever. So when I was in my senior year of high school, I really wanted to start playing sports that I am still capable of. So I saw an ad for sled hockey tryouts, and I decided to try it out, despite the fact that I didn't really know what it was about or what I was going to be doing. And I'm really glad I did and tried it out because I love it. And now my entire family actually goes out once a month to skate with me.
Mm.
And the setup is basically how it sounds. It's hockey, but you're actually sitting on a sled. And the sled has two blades on the bottom of it to slide through the ice. And then in each hand you're holding sticks. And at the bottom of the sticks they have blades on the bottom to help me propel myself on the ice while I'm hitting the puck. And these events are really just practices, so I'm not really playing games against people because it does take a lot of work to do all this physical effort,
Mm,
and I don't think I have the skill really to compete with other people. But to me, it's just being there, being on ice, giving physical effort. That's what's important to me.
mm,
I do actually have a friend, he organizes the event for me, and he's really my hero. He actually does play on a team, sled hockey team, and compete against other people from around the country in different tournaments, and I think it's really cool. He really does encourage me to keep trying.
and I think that's one thing that's important about it is just to not necessarily have a sport to compete in, but just to stay active and stay involved.
Yep.
And
And
so,
also, earlier this year, I saw an ad to try out for adaptive curling, and I was interested in trying that, even though I don't really know what curling is other than watching it on the Olympics.
hmm, yeah,
So when I got there, there were a lot of people there. So first we practiced it out. It's basic like regular curling. You're basically gliding a stone or rock across the ice. But for me, because it's harder to reach the stone, I'm holding a stick, which basically acts as a longer arm that connects right to the stone to help me push it. So it's like a longer arm and makes it easier and more comfortable for me to do things. But once I got the hang of it, I actually played a game, and I actually ended up winning the game. I was really excited with that because I thought it was a really high IQ move, because I remember I hit two pucks that were already thrown into the circle to end up winning the game. I was really excited about that and happy I could still do something on my own. It
mm,
was really exciting.
yeah. I think to help the listeners picture it, it's like a game of shuffleboard on ice,
Yep.
and it's
Yeah, basically it's like kind of like shuffleboard but on ice.
mm,
Scoring's a little different, but it's similar to that aspect.
mm,
Right now my family is currently looking for a new place closer to where I live, because I live in Battle Creek and this place was all the way in Detroit, so that's a little too far to make a commute there regularly.
mm.
So we're looking at a different rink closer to get a team set up there. We could play that more often.
Yeah, that's really exciting. That's really awesome, and it's been encouraging to see like you persisting and um still overcoming your challenges through it out of sports. And Kyle, you do some as well, don't you?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with FA when I was 11. I played sports up until I was 14. And then I couldn't play anymore. And then I started adaptive sports when I was like 16 after my spinal fusion surgery. You know, I used to be really athletic. I'm still very competitive. so keeping me out of sports was enough.
Hmm.
I do adaptive skiing. I did rock climb. I do adaptive surfing and bike riding.
And tell us a little bit about how rock climbing helps you with FA. Like, how do you get into that?
So it helps me a lot with that fact because I use my leg and that increases my strength.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, you're doing some pull-ups.
and yeah, well, yeah. It obviously helps with my upper body,
Mm.
but I love it because I'm always working with the team. I consider the person below me my teammate. And with skiing, there's always two people with me, and they're my teammates. Yeah,
How does
I
surfing
don't like.
work
Oh
on
yeah,
crew?
with surfing, I surf when with about 30 people.
Mm.
The water is uh the Pacific Ocean is not warm. So when I fall in, they help get me up real fast.
Mm.
And yeah, I don't like losing. So every time I try to get better and better. And that just feels me to keep going.
Mm. That's awesome. Love to hear it. Michael, can you tell us a little bit about Ride a Taxi and your involvement in that?
Sure. So, Taxi was actually my first FA event. I think it was in March or so of 2017. I went out to Dallas, met Kyle and lots of other people. It was a lot of fun. I ended up getting a cat trike. I've done a couple of rider taxis since. I've a little bit taken a step back from that. Not really all activity or anything. Because I'm still trying to stay active, stuff like that. But it's a little difficult for me to keep my legs in the position that they would need to be in for a cat trike. So
Mm.
I do a recumbent. I go to the gym, stuff like that. I mean, I do a stationary recumbent at the gym, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like FA weirdly a little bit interrupted my sports enjoyment. I feel like there was a maybe 5 or 6 year period where it was like, okay, we'll take a step back. And then in high school, late high school, I had always kind of been somewhat following sports. And my brother was playing baseball, so you know, I eventually got back into it. Uh, I felt like I had to choose a team that nobody from my family was pulling me in their direction,
Mm.
and that's why I chose the Marlins. Uh,
Fortunate
as unlucky of a choice that may have been, but
for
yeah.
you. I would say I feel bad for you, but I don't.
The Marlins are a strange team, and I'm not going to talk about them this entire podcast.
That's fair. And I think we're all to some extent involved in the gym as well and keeping our muscles strong and things like that. because I think that's the point with FA for me. I do ride sexy. I have my own recumbent bike as well that was gifted through AI, a Taxi and Athlete Initiative. I'm back in 2020 just to stay active, keep my legs strong. Because with FA, it really is hard to work out your legs and not have extreme soreness and extreme layover fatigue. So I go to PT, go to the gym. I would say now that I'm not as involved in sports, that has become bigger for me as like a way to stay active. Even though I'm not on the field playing sports, but I'm still cheering on my Braves, cheering on my Atlanta sports, and I stay physically active in those things. I think a lot of us do PT and stay in the gym like I do. So that's kind of my way to stay active. But what about you, Duncan? How do you stay active despite FA?
So I'm sure I do what all you guys do. PD, gym, just
Mm.
Dr. Lynch, the neurologist that I see, he told me that the more you do, the more you do. So I've been trying to just overall do more, and then hopefully that will slow down the progression. And
Mm.
funny that you mentioned PT because I so I didn't do PT for a while just because I was a little frustrated.
Mm.
Uh, I didn't really see the point of doing it,
Mm.
and I stopped because I just didn't want to do it anymore. And then couple months ago, it just kind of dawned on me that I should start doing PT again because um I got frustrated earlier that I wasn't doing it, but now it's almost like I'm getting as frustrated by not doing it. So I started to see a little progress and try and get control back of my lower body.
Mm.
And so I did that, and I actually the physical therapist just released me. Um and so now I'm doing more stuff on my own, and me and my parents actually got home from the gym today. Um doing a little PT with me. And then when I'm not doing PT, I try and do some upper body stuff. So usually I do PT on Tuesday and Thursday. And then I'll try and do upper body stuff Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Just to not lose any part or not lose control
Mm.
of any parts of the body, and just trying to fight it in the best way possible.
I feel you on that because I think doing upper body is a lot easier to manage on your own with FA because you have more control of the muscles in the upper body. But I think the lower body, I need more like assistance. Like, what's too much? Like, I don't want to be sore and like be tripping and falling the days after I work out, or but at the same time, like, I don't want to not work them out enough. Like, am I wasting my time, like, doing things that aren't effective? And so PT kind of helps me to keep that good medium in there and also incorporate balance into it and work on balance. But along with the physical side of things, staying involved and staying active, another challenge that comes along with FA and sports is the mental stimulation because you're not able to be out there on the field or the court. And so a lot of us are big sports fans and stay involved that way. For me and my career with sports journalism, that's kind of my way to stay involved in it and then be in the atmosphere of the sports game and have like a purpose, I think, is really what it's done for me. For you guys, flash forward to today, you're not on the field anymore, but how are you guys interacting with sports and staying involved in the sports world despite FA?
I stand by. I'm on Twitter, and my whole Twitter feed is all about Oregon. I watch SportsCenter every day, so I'm always keeping up on sports. I'm currently watching the PGA Championship
Mhm.
and the NBA playoffs. The Lakers.
Yeah.
And
And what do you
I
think?
love attending events. I attend I try to get out to one Oregon game a year,
Mm,
Oregon football.
mm,
But this year I'm gonna be at the University of Oregon,
yes, sir.
and I plan to go to every football game, basketball game, every sporting event,
Mm.
and yeah.
That's my thing. I go to Auburn University, which is the rival of the team I grew up cheering for, the University of Alabama. Roll Tide. Um, I didn't say that. Just to cross that out. We'll edit that out. But yeah, that's kind of my thing and my way to stay involved on campus is, I'm at every sporting event. I'm at every baseball, softball game. Like that's kind of my thing. You ask me what I do, I cover sports. And it kind of gives me a purpose and as well as the mental stimulation because it's exciting. It's exciting to keep up with this, it's exciting to watch. And to be able to tell other people about that feels like it gives me a reason to be involved in it. And also just I've always thrived in that atmosphere of especially with the baseball being around the ballpark atmosphere. It, it lights me up. It's something that's a passion of mine. And so journalism is just my way to keep that up and not lose that too. Just because I can't be on the field doesn't mean I can't be around it. Yeah. And so Kyle or Michael, can you kind of back me up on that? How do you feel like sports has changed the way you see your life with FA?
Um, a good question.
Yeah, it's a tough question.
I don't know that I do as much as a fan as either you and Kyle. I will say that one other part of sports, I guess outside of FA to avoid your question, that appeals to me is the numbers aspect, the statistics aspect. I think I'm more of a nerd than most anybody else. So I like the number side of baseball. Really looking at that. My roommate last year would always tease me about for looking at the pitch count, how high the pitch count was getting in a specific inning.
Yeah.
And that's not an analytic type thing, but whatever. So I really, I do love the ballpark atmosphere, right? I love going to a game, especially being in St. Louis. Last year was awesome with Pujols and Waino and Yachty and all that. I mean, it's crazy. You have 4, maybe 5 Hall of Famers on the field at the same time when you count Arenado and Goldie. So is a pretty good product the St. Louis Cardinals were putting out. Much better than the start of this season, that's for sure.
It's tough to lose 2 Hall of Famers. Had
Yes,
a little bit of an adjustment, not just on the field, but in the clubhouse, I think too.
that's true.
But yeah,
Still got
that's
a couple though.
yeah. And you go to quite a few games as well, which is awesome. That's one of my goals, I think, is to travel to all 30 MLB stadiums eventually. I've only been to 5, but I'll get there.
I don't have a running total of how many I've been to, but Busch Stadium is definitely a beautiful park. But the best I think is PNC Park in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh, the Allegheny River. Yeah.
And the view of downtown and the bridges, it's wonderful.
Always play there on MLB The Show.
Yeah.
That's another thing, video games. I didn't even bring that up, but I'm a big MLB The Show guy. And Madden, NBA 2K, that's another way I stay involved with sports. Brendan, you play some FIFA, I think?
Yeah.
What's that like for you? Like,
It's I really like playing the career mode and I like coming up with what I would do if I was the manager.
yeah.
I like managing things and like telling how it should be done. And then I also like playing the team.
I think video games are a way to like have some sort of control, because with that feel like everything's out of your control. Like what Duncan was saying,
yeah.
feel like you're putting in all the work and progression just keeps on going. Like you're like, are you serious? Like I go to PT twice a week. I'm in the gym 3 times a week, and progression just keeps going. But playing video games, you can control it. You can be the manager. You can be the coach, and
Yeah.
I think that's something that's really cool about it. Duncan, you're around a lot of sports events, going to Coastal. How do you think being around sports changes your outlook?
I miss being out on the field with the court. So
Yeah.
honestly, I try and go whenever I can, because I think that by me going, it brings back, I enjoy it, and it brings back the really good memories.
It does.
I
Yeah.
playing sports, and I miss playing sports so much, and by going to events, that's a great way for me to stay involved. And if I don't go, I'm trying to watch it
Yeah.
pretty much anytime I can. Kind of like the NBA playoffs, even though I'm not a huge basketball fan. Love watching the games and seeing how well people perform, because I love sports.
That's very relatable. Like I think it's crazy because for me, I remember in such vivid detail like certain plays or certain things I did in my playing days, and now my little brother plays baseball in the same place that I used to play in coach bits and Little League. And going back brings those memories back, and being at the ballpark, even any ballpark, like I can replay those things like a highlight reel in my head, and I think that's what's so cool about it. And also playing video games, I can kind of recreate it, or not recreate it, but like it's a way to live it out. And like
Yeah.
with the my player mode or the my career mode, like sometimes I like to imagine like what my skills could have been. Like, would I have been the big power guy, or would I have been I would have been the more contact guy, but I like to imagine that I would have been a power hitter. Um but anyways, just to be at the ball field or be at the court brings back the good memories that I made, and sometimes it's kind of hard too because I feel like I'm finding myself missing like what it could have been. Like I feel like I didn't live up to my potential. Like I said, I was peaking around age, what, 10, 11. Like that was the time I was running the best, running the smoothest. I feel like I could have only gotten better from there, but it's hard to know because I didn't get to live up to that potential. And so it can be challenging to watch sports sometimes because of that. But also, like you said, I can't get myself away from it. I'm always either at a sporting game or watching them or playing a video game or covering a game or something. Like it's my life, and I love it, even though it can be challenging to think of what could have been. And this is a question for everyone. Um, what role do you think sports plays in your life now? Um, that can be mentally, that can be physically. For me, I feel like um it's a way to stay active, but it's also a way to express myself and um like everyone knows me as the guy who covers sports. Um yeah, so does anyone have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I have something. Can I go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my junior and senior year of high school, I was already in a walker and eventually went to a wheelchair. So I was looking for activities to fit in with high school. So I decided to try out for the student coach of the men's soccer team at my high school. And I remember it was definitely one of my favorite things that I did in high school. And it really helped me because I wasn't physically capable of playing on the team at all, but I think it really helped my social life, getting to make friends or go to parties. And I think it also really helped me with tactics and plays, learning from the coach what to look for.
Mm-hmm. I feel the same way. That I think that's what I was trying to get at, is that it helps me socially, like whenever I see old friends or talking with my family, what's the thing they're gonna bring up with me, and it's the sports. That's something I can always talk about, and I'm always involved in, and have my head in some game, whatever's going on.
Uh,
Um,
could I also add, I think sports play a role in motivating myself to help me try and get stronger and focus on my body.
mm,
And even just watching sports on TV or going to my little brother's sports games, it gives me hope that one day in the future, maybe I will be able to play again and be on the team.
Yeah, I love that. And Kyle, I know you have a little bit of Coach Kyle. What
Coach Water Dad.
Coach Water Dad? What made you decide to get into coaching?
Growing up, I always wanted to be a defensive back for the Oregon Ducks. And then I got diagnosed, and I knew I couldn't be able to play football at a high level anymore. So then, throughout high school, I always wanted to stay involved with sports. So I wanted to be a coach.
Mm.
And I would always go to games. I love the recruiting aspect. Sports is a year-round commitment, and I love that.
Mm. Yeah, it brings excitement to every day, I think, for me, because that's especially why I love the MLB, because there's a game going on almost every night. Like,
Yeah, I love.
Some of us might be watching a game in the background right now.
I love talking about sports and being around people that are involved.
mm,
Sports are my life.
yeah, it's something to look forward to as well with college football. I know you look forward to game day Saturdays. Watch college game
Right.
day. Yes, sir.
I look forward to it every day. Every day.
How many more days till college football season, Kyle? Do you know?
There's 14 and a half weeks.
Too many.
Wait, no, that's until Oregon.
Man, that'll be awesome though to be there as a student. That it changes everything. It makes it more exciting.
Yeah, we play Hawaii week 1.
Mhm.
Portland State. And then we go to Lubbock, Texas, and play Texas Tech. That'll be a good game.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yep.
Looking forward to that. What game on the calendar should I circle for the Oregon Ducks this season? Last year it was Ohio State.
Maybe Colorado at Oregon, USC at Oregon, Oregon at Washington, Oregon at Utah,
All of them. All of them.
or Oregon State at Oregon.
I love it, man. I'll be cheering on your Ducks for you. Oh, and Michael, I know you talked about loving to keep up with the stats. I can relate to that a lot. What is it about those numbers that you think keeps you interested?
I don't know. Well, first of all, I want to go back to you saying that you would root for Kyle's Ducks. Do you feel the same way about me and my Buckeyes, or no?
No,
Okay.
not a chance.
All right. No, I've always really kind of had an interesting nerdy fascination, I guess, with the kind of relationships between numbers. I was always very good at, this makes it sound like something it's not, but like identifying functions between two numbers. So like a teacher says, I put a 3 in and got out of 10. What did I do? I put these numbers in and got these numbers out. What did I do to get those numbers? I was always kind of good with math, relationships with numbers, that kind of stuff. So as I've learned just more and more about baseball, I found that all the more fascinating. I think one of my, low points, I guess, whatever, not really, in baseball is that I'm not great on baseball history. So if you ask me about somebody who played a long time ago, I probably don't know who they are. But definitely current MLB, I follow a lot.
And Duncan, you follow a little bit of every sport, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Is there anything you can pinpoint about sports that and that has interested you or pulls you in?
So I think that kind of goes back to when I started playing sports. I football. I was quarterback and for a little bit, and I remember this was 7th grade, I think. I just told my coach, "Hey, coach, I really enjoy hitting people." So he put me on defense. I played defense for a little while, linebacker. Even though I don't have the size and the height, I still played pretty good. But going back, I think by playing football, and slowly kind of stepping away from the sport, I really wanted to be out there, and so I think watching games or going to games, that just gave me a way to stay involved with the sport and with baseball. I mean, I probably played every position except maybe center field. But I also love just rotating around and getting to know the ins and outs of each position in baseball, and I think that also kind of by me stepping away, knowing every position, knowing what to do, knowing kind of the secrets behind that position. It's just watching it and going to baseball games and playing video games kind of helped me, I guess, cope with how much I missed the game.
Yeah.
Kind of gives me a more stronger feeling for the sport, because I wish I was there, but I'm not. But playing video games, watching and going to events, helps with that.
Yeah. I feel like it's kind of the same thing for me. Not being able to do something you're so passionate about tells you a lot about yourself. I think I've learned my own determination. Because like I said, even after I was diagnosed with the rare disease, I was told literally, you're not going to be walking in a few years, or it's going to be hard for you to walk. And I still was out there, lifting weights, throwing on the field, trying my best to still be involved. And I think it taught me that, no matter what happens in life, I'm not going to give up. Like, I'm going to work for what I want, even though, yeah, it didn't work out. Like, I had to quit sports. Like, I'm never going to let a diagnosis stop me from what I want to get to in life. And I've found my part in sports and my way to stay involved, as we all have. And so yeah, I feel like the role it plays in my life now is like I said, it brings a lot of excitement to the everyday, to the dull. I do find myself missing it a lot, and like I said, wondering what could have been, I think, is one thing that's really tough about it, but also it's taught me like that diligence and that hard work pays off, I think. And yeah, I think sports has definitely changed my life for the better, even though I'm not in the middle of it, in the action on the field or on the court. And so yeah, unless anybody has anything to add to that, I think that's a good point to wrap it up. Thanks again to you guys for joining and for giving our listeners a glimpse into your lives with FA.
Thanks for having us.
Your sports, yep. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Noah.
Thank you.
And thanks to our listeners for tuning in and supporting the Rare Is Us podcast for episode 2. We might just have to do this again. So just to wrap it up, I want to tell our listeners, remind our listeners to keep dreaming big, as Kyle would say.
Yes, sir.
And to keep fighting. Until next time. Thanks again, you guys, for tuning in and for listening to episode 2, the Rare Is Us podcast. Big shout out to our producer, Jesse Shelby, and to our sponsor, Justin Ballou, for putting this together. Make sure to hit the subscribe if you like what you hear, and we will be back next month with episode 3. So stay tuned in. Thank you.